the shadows of the old library halls, where the dust is thick and the silence calls. Books tell stories of the things unseen, of foxes wild and spirits keen. Whispers in the stacks they creep, ghostly chills that steal your sleep. Paranormal truths no one believes, they linger here like autumn's leaves. Bibles open to verses dark, stories written to leave their mark. The wildlife outside hears the moans, silent foxes, the forest groans. The past and beast you cannot tame, a history buff who knows no shame. Paragon life outside hears the moans, silent foxes, the forest groans. The past and beast you cannot tame, a history buff who knows no shame. Paranormal tales in every spine, haunting truths that cross the line. Whispers in the stacks they creep, ghostly chills that steal your sleep. Paranormal truths no one believes, they linger here like autumn's leaves. Spirits waltz through moonlit air, books fall down as if to dare. Foxes howl in the wooded shade, they guard the truths that time forbade.
Good evening, everyone. And welcome to the library. Thank you so much for being here this evening on this October 10th. Yes, October 10th. It's a beautiful evening outside. It's about 50 degrees here, maybe 49 by now, but it's perfect autumn weather and perfect for some ghostly talk. So let's get on camera right now. There we are. Hello, hello, hello. As you can see, Lenny, Victor, and Edgar are all in attendance, and our jack-o'-lantern is lit because it is October. We're about to light our candles. I would have loved to go outside and do a fire, but I've been having a lot of trouble with my Wi-Fi, and I'm afraid it would go in and out too much. But I would love to do one outside by the fire, especially on a night like this. But how are we doing tonight, everyone? I'm so happy to see everyone. Let me go down the line here before we get started and jump into things. Hello, Ben. Ben, thank you so much. I didn't even see this until just now. Hello, Ben. That's awesome. What a great way to start off the evening. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Don McHugh, what is happening? Magooch Management is here. Patty is here. Delilah, of course, is here. Tommy Stiggs checking in. Zelda in the house. Hold on a second. I lost my chat for a second. There we go. Shannon, great to see you, Shannon. Dave T from Boston is here. Great to see you. Thindu, my brother, is building the guild as usual. Hollywood in the house. Hollywood, good to see you, my friend. Who else is here? Did I miss anybody? Arlene Merlino is here. Great to see you. Honeybee, good to see you, Honeybee. Gianni, how are you? Who else is here? Sweet Tea, the author of that wonderful song that I used for an intro. Tammy Thompson is here, of course. Great to see you. All right, guys. So happy to see everyone this evening. As you can see, I'm sporting my new Salem, Massachusetts sweatshirt, which I obtained in my recent trip. Excuse me. I don't want to keep clearing my throat, but my allergies are acting up as this storm is coming in. There is a storm, a nor'easter we're expecting here, and my allergies are picking up on it immediately. So it's causing me a bit of a problem. So please bear with me a bit. But tonight's show is going to be a little different. I thought I'm going to talk about Salem and my trip to Salem. Originally, I was thinking about witches. So this is still about witches to some degree, but I wanted to just talk to you more about my experience there and see what you think about it. And I know several people in the chat have already said they love Salem. They've gone there before. I had a wonderful time there and took a lot of pictures. I'm going to show you some pictures of what I took, which I think are pretty cool. And even a picture that could be paranormal. So stick around. When we get into that segment, I want to show you that and find out what you think about that. But let's talk about Salem, Massachusetts. Amazing town to be in. I was there for 4 days. I had a wonderful time. My wife and I had a wonderful time there. The people were marvelous there. The people were just so nice. It was a great time. It really was. They were so kind and welcoming. And look, and I know it's a tourist type of area, but there were still very nice people. I enjoyed them so much. And the town, of course, is beautiful. It's all decked out. It is all decked out for Halloween. You can't beat it. You know, if you're into Halloween, you will absolutely love it. It's unbelievable. Hello, Patsy. Good to see you. M. Pow is here. Hello, Gerard. Gerard, how are you? All right. Gina is here. Everyone's here tonight. Excellent. Thank you guys for showing up. So I tell you, for someone who loves history, it's a great place to go. Great place to go. And someone who likes Halloween, it's a great place to go. And the amount of homes that are there that are historical is quite amazing, and they're all well kept up. Even though most of the town was decimated by a fire in 1914, which wiped out a lot of homes. But even so, they've restored a lot, and there's plenty to see there. Plenty to see there. And what we did was we took these tours, these historical walking tours. We actually took 3 of them. One was based on the Hocus Pocus movie, the Disney movie, which we loved that movie. And so we decided we'll go on that tour. There was one called A History of the Salem Witch Trials. And then the final one we went on was a nighttime haunted tour of the city. And they were all great tours. All 3 of them were great. They really made it worth going to. And, along these tours is where I took my pictures for a lot of these things. So it should be, if this is something that you like, definitely do it. Some of you have already done it. I see that. Let's see. All right, hold on a second. The chat is flying. Okay, hold on. All right, so Gerard, I know Gerard mentioned this to me before, that his wife's ancestors, my wife's ancestor was condemned as a witch, Rebecca Nurse. That's pretty amazing that was, she was able to trace her lineage back to that. That's pretty awesome. I mean, it's not awesome what happened, but it's awesome to have such a rich history going back that far. Patsy says he is a history buff. He'd like to go. That's great. Shannon says she's not a history buff, but she'd like to go or loves it, I think. What'd she say? Not even, oh, loves Salem. Okay. Um, Gianni says he takes the kids there every year. What else? I don't want to miss anything here. Delilah loves Hocus Pocus. I do too. I love that movie. It's a great movie. Second one, not so much. The second one made, I think, last year, the year before, it was not good. But but the original one was cool. Honeybee says she loves the movie. All right. Yeah. Basically, my message is it's a great trip. It's not a big deal. It took me a long time to get there, though. It took us about 6 hours there and back. 6 hours each way because of traffic. I mean, Connecticut, the state of Connecticut is horrendous. I don't know if anyone lives in Connecticut, but the state of Connecticut's traffic is horrendous. It makes New Jersey's look like it's nothing, I guess. But that was horrible going through Connecticut. But once you're in Massachusetts, it's not that bad. So there's also a street that I think was amazing. It's called Chestnut Street in Salem itself. What a beautiful street. It's perfect. I mean, it's got to be a kid's dream for trick or treating. All these old houses are lined up. It's a double wide street. They're all decorated. It's beautiful. It has these huge trees overhanging it. It's just the perfect place for Halloween and trick or treating. Gianni, it only takes you. How could it only take? That's impossible. It can't only take you 2 hours to get to New Jersey. That's not possible. There's no way. You're lying. There's no way it can only take you 2 hours to get to New Jersey. No way. Unless you're taking a train. Maybe you're taking a train. There's no way you can drive there in 2.5 hours. Hey, Paulie. Hello, Paulie Donuts. Great to see you. So yeah, I mean, it was quite an experience, and although I, of course, knew about the the witch trials, and because I am a history enthusiast, but it was always good to hear it. Gianni, there's no way. It's not possible. There's no way you can get to New Jersey in 2 hours. It's not possible. It is not possible. No way. Impossible. Impossible. Um, let's see here. So, some of the places that I wanted to highlight, the Hawthorne Hotel. Hawthorne Hotel, named after Nathaniel Hawthorne, one of the favorite sons there of the area, who wrote The House of the Seven Gables, which was there. We didn't tour that, but the House of Seven Gables, you can go on a tour of that. It was closed. For some reason, it was closed on Tuesday and Wednesday, so we couldn't get in there. Um, Oh, Bill C. Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you, Bill C. um, anyway, but the Hawthorne Hotel, I actually spoke about the Hawthorne Hotel before on a previous episode because it is a noted haunted hotel. Now, we didn't stay there, but we went there to eat. And by the way, the food was great there. It was great food. The restaurant was beautiful. But the story behind that is the sixth floor is really the most haunted floor there. And there was a woman that took her life there and said that her spirit is still haunting. And I forgot the specific room that's really haunted. That if you take your dog there, dogs will not even go into the room, which I thought was fascinating. But the Hawthorne Hotel is right in the center of everything. And the cool thing about Salem, in my opinion, is everything is there. Everything is in the center. Like and it's a lot bigger than I thought it was. But everything is close together. The pedestrian mall there is beautiful. It's kept clean and beautiful. It reminds you kind of like of a boardwalk in New Jersey without all the dirt and filth and degenerates and all the other things that happen on a New Jersey boardwalk. But it's really cool. You can walk up and down there. There's all these shops. And I was amazed how all the shops were themed towards, just about all of them were themed towards witches, Halloween's, ghosts, scary, everything is themed there, and it wasn't that expensive. I thought it was going to be a lot more expensive than it was, so that's another positive for it. It wasn't as expensive at all as I thought would be. Um, there's cider mills are fun things to do. Yeah, cider mill. Yeah. Yep. Apple orchards to make cider. Yep. Let's see what else here. What else is going on here in the chat? Yeah. So I wanted to highlight a couple of things from what I experienced, and hopefully I could show you. I mean, I got a lot of pictures. So, let me see here what I got here in terms of pictures, because I got so many pictures. All right, let's start off with this. Let's start off with this one. This place that I'm showing you right now is called the Joshua Ward House. And this was on one of the tours. Now, let me show you what it looks like. I took this picture at night. This was at night when we were passing by. Let's see here. Where is it? There we go. This is the Joshua Ward House. Now, this house is said to be very haunted. If it's probably one of the most haunted places in Salem, if not the haunted. I think they say the witch house, which I'll show you in a bit, is the most haunted. But this place is probably second on the list of how much activity has been going on there. And the interesting thing about this is the history that this goes back. Now, this particular property it's currently a hotel. You can stay at this hotel. It's a small hotel. There's not many rooms in it. You can stay there. It's astronomical to stay there, though. I think it's $1,600 a night to stay in this historical building. I don't know if that's because it's haunted. I don't know, but it's a beautiful building. It's a beautiful building, and it has a long history of paranormal activity. Now, this goes way back. This property in per se. Now, this house wasn't there in the 1600s during the Salem witch trials, which, by the way, took place in 1692. But the property in question, which this is built on, was owned by the high sheriff at the time, George Corwin. Now, George Corwin was an awful human being. An awful human being, quite an evil person. And he was only 26 years old at the time when he was the high sheriff. And he was the nephew of the judge of the witch trials, who was also named Corwin. Obviously, Corwin was his last name. His first name was Jonathan Corwin. He was one of the judges in the witch trial. But the high sheriff, George Corwin, lived on this property, owned this property. And the villainous things that this guy did have translated, I guess, over time to make this place haunted, because he didn't live in this house. This house didn't exist at that time, but he lived on this property, owned this property. The family owned this property. So, hello, Donna. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. And so the whole story behind this is that he really is the mastermind of the Salem witch trials. Why? Because he wanted to make money from it, for the most part. He, as the high sheriff, he had the ability to take people's property, confiscate people's property. So if you were accused of witchcraft, he was taking your property, and somehow he ended up keeping the property, keeping the wealth and the property of it. And this really goes back to an issue that happened at the time. just before that time, there was some type of mix up in England. Well, I think there was division of or turnover of power, and I forget the succession in England at the time. But as a result, the charter for the Massachusetts Bay Colony was revoked. So there was no legal authority at the time, that it wasn't governed by the crown, basically, because they revoked the charter. So these people that were there, the Puritans that were there at that time, basically created their own law, created their own court, created everything. And basically everything that happened under the witch trials would not have happened if English law was in place at the time. It would have been in violation of English law. So, there were no juries. There weren't English laws. You had to have a jury. They didn't have a jury for the witch trials. So, it goes back. It's quite an interesting, such an interesting history behind it that you to understand this. But anyway, so the issue is Corwin, George Corwin, the sheriff. He's such a villainous person that not only does he arrest people, he tortures them. He tortures them and tries to get confessions out of them. And later on, they find out that he had all these instruments of torture in his basement, where he would take people down there and just relish in torturing them. So just an evil, evil creature. So some of the things that are seen in this house are his image. His image appears, like his spirit will appear. And when it appears, it's always in a negative way, because he's evil. He was evil in life, and I guess he's carrying on this evilness into the next life. Or maybe he's afraid to pass over because he knows he was so evil. But people have been known to feel like they're being strangled by him. And this goes back to modern day people who are there have a sensation of being strangled in the spirit's presence. And this goes back to, because one of the things he used to do was strangle people. He was known as the Strangler Sheriff. That he would, if he took you into custody, he would take you by the throat, put you up against the wall, and strangle you, in hopes that it would get you to confess. Most people would pass out from it, and then go on into the jail cell and have to go for more torture afterwards. But that was his first line of torture, was he would physically strangle people. So quite an evil, evil person. Yeah, Gerard, I'm going to get to that. Gerard wants to know if he met justice. Well, you're going to hear about it. And it's quite an interesting way. So Corwin was one of the things that's famous about the witch trials is, and let me get this off the screen. We've all seen the house now. Get rid of this. One of the things that's famous about the witch trials is Giles Corey, an individual named Giles Corey, who was pressed. Now, if you don't know what pressed means, is they put a plank on the ground, lay you on the ground, and then put another plank on top of you and put rocks on top of you, and keep putting rocks on top of you, and more weight on top of you until you confess. And this was done at the behest, at the order of Sheriff Corwin against Giles Corey, because Giles Corey would not plead. He would not plead guilty or not innocent when he was accused of witchcraft. So this was their solution. This was the sheriff's solution. Take him out and press him. So he brings him out onto this property, lays him down there, and puts the rocks on it. And to Giles Corey's credit, not really a nice guy himself, because basically he rats out his wife, and his wife turns his wife in for witchcraft, and then he gets accused of witchcraft. So he was not a nice guy either. But to his credit, he understood that keep your mouth shut. And if he did not plead, his property would never be confiscated by the sheriff. It could not be done under the law. They could not take you. You could not be convicted if you did not put forward a plea. You could not be officially convicted, and therefore the sheriff could never take your property. So he wanted to make sure his property was left to his heirs, left to his sons. And he was successful, because as time went on, they pressed him for 2 days, and the only thing he ever said was more weight. Whenever they asked him for a plea, he would say more weight, meaning pour more weight onto me. And the guy was 79 years old at the time. I mean, this guy was a real badass, without a doubt. I mean, not a nice guy, but a real badass. That he did that. He went through this, and he eventually. What the sheriff would do was also jump on top of him while he's had all this weight on top of him. He would physically get up there and jump on him, and jump and try to press him more to get him to give a plea. Didn't work. And he eventually does die, but they say that his last words were a curse on the sheriff and Salem in general. And the story goes that what happened was Sheriff Corwin was only 26 years old when he did this. 4 years after to the date, 4 years after the date of Corwin's death, of Giles's death by pressing, where he actually dies, Sheriff Corwin does not show up in court, does not show up anywhere. In fact, no one's seen the sheriff for days. So they sent people to go and look for him. They go to his house and they find him dead, passed out. His heart had exploded. They say his heart had exploded, much like someone who was being pressed would have happened to them. So the same thing happened to him, and they couldn't explain why this happened to him, but he did meet his end. So, if Gerard, if you're still here, he did meet justice. He met it 4 years later when the curse caught up to him, presumably. And at the age of 30, at the age of 30, he dies of his heart exploding, and no one knows why. Now, the interesting thing about this whole story is the after he's dead. Now, during the time of the witch trials, Corwin, there was also an individual by the name of Philip English, who him and his wife were accused of witchcraft. Now, instead of standing trial, what they did was they absconded to New York. So New York is a different colony, right? And at the time, and there's no such thing as jurisdiction or anything like that. So they were safe from the witch trial. So they ran to New York and stayed there. This infuriated Sheriff Corwin. So what Sheriff Corwin did was go to the court and got a writ to confiscate all of their property. So they took all of their property that was in Salem. He confiscated it all. Well, after the sheriff's death, English returns to Salem and files a lawsuit and wins his lawsuit, saying that his property was taken illegally. Now, the property that was taken was all part of Corwin's estate because he had died, and he kept all the property he took. It wasn't like in this day and age where if a sheriff confiscates property, it goes to the state. He kept all the property. He kept it all himself. So he wins this lawsuit. English wins this lawsuit against Corwin, but there's nothing that you can't collect because everything's gone. He had died, and all of the money, all of the property had been sent to his heirs. So what does English do? And I give him credit for this. He gets a judgment against Corwin's body and takes possession of the dead sheriff's body and holds it ransom until Corwin's family pays him back all the money that was stolen from him. And this went on for 19 years. English kept Corwin's body in his basement for 19 years and just let it there rot. Just left it there rotting. And it wasn't until 19 years after when the family got enough money together to pay the debt and the body was turned back over, the remains, whatever there were at that time, were turned back over to the Corwin family, and they buried it. They buried it in Salem in the family tomb. Now, Sheriff Corwin was also the nephew. I think I mentioned this before. Was the nephew of one of the judges, Jonathan Corwin. So he's now buried with Corwin. Both him and his uncle are buried together in a family tomb there. And I visited that tomb while I was there. So just a fascinating story of what went on. And it is said because of all of this, one of the things was that the body was kept in that house that I just showed you. The body remains were kept in that house. And because of that, his spirit lingers there. His negative spirit lingers in on that property. Excuse me. So that's the story of Corwin, the evil sheriff of the witch trials. So that's the story around that. That's a story around the Joshua Ward House. What's that's called? Joshua Ward House was is the it's named after the person that actually built this house on this property, Joshua Ward, which was much later. All right, now let's go on to another thing, another story out of Salem that I want to tell you about. Let's see. All right, let's go on to the witch house. Now, I'm going to show you this picture. You may recognize this because this is famous. This is a famous symbol of famous symbol of Salem. This house right here. It's called the witch house. And that's a bit of a misnomer because there were no witches that lived in this house. Hey, Paulie, thank you so much. Awesome. Paulie Donuts. That's awesome. Giving out membership is amazing. Thank you, buddy. Let me see who's getting the memberships here. If I can see this real quick. Okay. I don't know any of these people. Well, Patty got one. All right, Patty. Good for you. Italiana 504, RSYRO, Ambrius, and Tiff 420 got memberships. All right. But thank you, Paulie Donuts. That's awesome. You're the best. All right. So this is called the witch house. Now, like I said, no witches lived here, or no accused witches lived here. This was the house of the sheriff's uncle and judge at the trials, Jonathan Corwin. Now, this house I couldn't get into. It was closed. It wasn't open for tours. I guess it's in the weekends. Again, this was open for tours, but I wasn't there. I was only there during the week. So, but I really would love to go in and see this house. Now, the stories about this house is that it's haunted by the spirit of Judge Corwin, also a negative spirit. He is not a good guy. Remember, he convicted these people for no reason, innocent folks condemned to death. Donna, thank you so much. So unnecessary. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Um, And so the people say that in the bedroom where Judge Corwin lived, that there is a negative feeling that you get when you walk in there, that you actually feel nauseous, you feel uncomfortable, you feel like you got to get out of there quickly. And I wanted to see if I could experience that, but I didn't. I unfortunately, like I said, I couldn't get in to the tour of the place. I guess they don't have it on a Tuesday or Wednesday. It seems that Tuesday and Wednesday, just for your information, if you want to go, seem to be like the lull parts of the week. So things are closed on Tuesday and Wednesday. This was closed. The House of the Seven Gables was closed. There was also something else was closed too. But anyway, but yeah, this house, and it's a beautiful house. I mean, this thing is an original. This thing was from 1600s. He actually lived there during the trial. So this thing is really old and really haunted though. A lot of negativity coming out of this place. Things moving around, they say, lights going on and off all the time. So a ghostly house that's still active after 400 years is kind of creepy. So anyway, so this is Judge Corwin's house, the witch house. Definitely something to stop by and see. If you can get in, I would definitely take a tour. I couldn't do that, but definitely do that because inside is preserved as it was in the 1600s. So it should be very, very interesting to see inside. All right, let me see what I got here. What's next? What is next here? Let's see. Okay, this is kind of cool. There is also something called the Witch Museum that you might want to see. It's a great place to go too. And you sign up for this, you take a tour of this. Now, in there are mannequins that depict each scene of the witch trials. Now, here's an example. I'll show you one example right here. This here is the pressing of Giles Corey right here. See, he's being pressed at the bottom with the stones on top of him. this is and they have these for each part of the witch trial, the story of the witch trial. They have these inside this museum, so it's pretty cool. And I want to show you what it looks like from the outside, because it really looks cool from the outside. I believe it's originally was a church, but Bill C, it's such a big draw for people to go to. Oh, you've never been there, really? And you live so close. Definitely, you should go. You should definitely go. Let's see. Let me get rid of this. On here. Let's see what else I can show you here. I'll save that one for later. Let me see. Where am I? Oh, we don't want that yet. Hold on. Bear with me here. And some of the houses, I mean, you could just walk around, and the houses are all decked out and decorated for Halloween. It's an amazing sight. I got so many pictures. I took too many pictures. That's my problem. I took too many pictures because it's hard to find them. All right, here. I got it. This is what the Witch Museum looks like, and it's basically in the center of town on Washington. Is it Washington? Yeah, Washington Street, I think. Hold on. But here we go. I'll show you this. You're gonna love this. This is what the Witch Museum looks like. It's pretty awesome. It's all red up. It's all lit up at red at night. And I believe it's an old church, but it just looks so creepy. It looks like a castle. And all those mannequins are inside there, and there's artifacts in there. You go in there and they give you a tour. It's great. It's great. Yeah, so the Lilas is spooky. Yeah, definitely spooky looking. And this is all the front here. The front here is all decked out with hay bales, corn stalks, pumpkins, all kinds of scarecrows, all kinds of stuff in the front there while you wait. That's where you wait to get in. All right. Let me see here. Let me get rid of that. I'll just show you some random pictures too that I took of the town. I don't know what this house is called, but this is it's similar to the witch house. Same type of structure, but just the 1600s type of architecture. Pretty cool. Yeah, See No Evil, exactly. Yep. All right. Oh, and this is also a big attraction. It's the Elizabeth Montgomery statue. Now, anybody who watched Bewitched growing up, I watched it on reruns. I didn't watch it live. That was before my time, but I love that show. And there's a statue of Elizabeth Montgomery in the center of town on here. And let me see. And people love to go up and take a picture with it. I just took a picture of the statue itself. Right there. There's the statue. And the story behind the statue is pretty cool too, is that the reason there's a statue of that is because of her, is because the show came to Salem in 1969, I think it was 1969 or 1968, and did a series of episodes there. And as a result of that, tourism boomed in Salem and had such an impact on the town that they decided to commemorate it by putting, creating and putting this statue of the show there. So it's still an attraction. People wait and to take pictures with it. It's pretty cool. I mean, I thought it was really cool looking. It does kind of look like her, it just, a little bit like her at least. So it's quite and if you like Bewitched, it's kind of cool to see that there, because it's a good remembrance of it. Let's see what else we got here. So that was the statue. Let me see what else I have here to show you. I have pictures from the Hocus Pocus tour too. All right, here's a picture of the Hawthorne Hotel that I took. I just wanted to show you this real quick. I took this from the outside as I was walking past. There's the Hawthorne Hotel. Right in here, underneath this, is this right where this window is to the left. There's the restaurant in there, which is a great restaurant to go in, and it's beautifully. It's got a big fireplace in it, and it has all wood paneling around it. It's just a beautiful place. Endora, yes, the mother-in-law witch, Endora. Yes, that's right, Donna. Endora, yep. Zelda, the witch thing was the twitching, right? It was like the twitching with her like mouth or something, right? Wasn't it like with her mouth that made the magic? Let's see here. So that's the Hawthorne Hotel. Definitely haunted. Definitely someplace to stop in and check out. And and I looked at the prices on this. If I knew the prices were what they were, I would have probably stayed here. I didn't stay here. I think they're a little bit more expensive in October, but if you're going there out of October, then it's not expensive. It's like $175 a night, and that's really not bad these days, considering what you pay to go in like a generic hotel. This is a historic hotel. This was built in 1925. A lot of famous people stayed here, so I probably would have stayed here if I knew the prices were that. But it's October, so they're more expensive and hard to get in as well. Twitched her nose. Yes, Gen X, exactly. Twitch of the nose, exactly. Yes. All right, let me see what else I have here. I want to show you. Now, if you like the movie Hocus Pocus, like I mentioned, you can get on the tour. The tour takes you to all the locations. Now, if you remember the house that the family lived in, that Max, the kid, lived in, and the daughter, Dan, and the Max and Danny, the brother and sister, they lived in. I'm going to show you that. We were in front of that house. Now, it's a private residence, so you can't go in it, but you can stand outside of it. That's what the tour does. The tour takes you outside of it. So here is my wife and I standing in front of the house, Max and Danny's house. And the interesting thing about this is, like, when you watch the movie, you don't think about this place being on the water. It's in the waterfront. Like right in front of us is the harbor. It's right there. There's like a stone wall there, and the harbor comes right up to it. So this house is right on the harbor in Salem. So that was really fascinating to me. And all of the things they did in all the shots inside the house were not taken here. They, just the outside shots. The inside stuff was all studio stuff. But I thought that was cool. And this was quite a walk to get to. This was quite a walk to get to. It was a 3.5 mile tour, 3.5 mile walking tour. And then when you're done, this is at the end of the tour, you have to walk back to the downtown area on your own. So we got in our steps and then some on this day when we did this. All right, let's see. There was one. Now let me show you. I want to show you this other house from Hocus Pocus, and it also has a ghost. It also has a ghost history too. Hold on. Let me see. Where is it? Oh, before I do that, there's just some other. I mean, this is just an example. Okay, this is an example of the houses in the downtown area. They're just randomly great houses that are decorated, for Halloween. And I guess I don't know. I don't think anyone's required to do it, but it's just something they do. Here's just a random house that I was walking past, and it's fully decorated for Halloween. And it's an old house. They're all old houses, quite frankly. All right, here we go. Here we go. These are the pictures I want. Hold on. Hold on. In Hocus Pocus, they have a big scene where they're in the town hall. The parents are all decked out for a Halloween party in the town hall, and Bette Midler goes up there and sings the got a spell on you and all that stuff. Puts the spell on them. We were in front of that building. It's called the Old Town Hall. Now, this is no longer the town hall, but it is a theater. It's a historic, they do theater, they have plays in it. So this is what it looks like right here. This is the town hall, the old town hall. And it was really cool to see this building because I remember that it's kind of an iconic scene where they're going in and out of the building. But the actual scenes inside the building are not filmed here again. It's in Hollywood, but they came here and filmed this for the look of it, So that's the old town hall. Let's see. Now, what else do I have here? All right, remember, I'm still on the movie, still thinking the movie. Remember the scene where they go to the girl's house? They're having a Halloween party in the girl's house. This is the house. Now, I took this picture at night because I went to now this is the interesting part of this story is that we went to this house during the day and we went to this house at night. We took two different tours where this house was on it. This is at night, obviously. Now, they said after the 15th, this place is decorated much like it is in the movie with hay bales and all kinds of, pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns and everything. It's currently a historical site. It's maintained by the Peabody, I guess they pronounce it, Peabody Society, which is a historical society. And it's closed for during the week. You can only get into it on weekends, I believe, for tours. So we couldn't get into it. But it's a beautiful old house. It was a mansion, and it is loaded. They say it's loaded with spiritual activity because there were mysterious fires that happened in this building over the years. One of which took the life of one of the owners, Abigail, like she died, unfortunately, and it took her 2 weeks. Her dress caught on fire. She was screaming, and instead of stop, drop, and roll, she just kept running around and screaming. She ran under her bed for some reason and really burnt. It was just a horrible way to die. Got third-degree burns all over her. This was in the 1800s, and as a result, late 1800s. As a result of that, they pulled her out, took her to the hospital. They couldn't do anything for her, and then she dies in 2 weeks later of an agonizing death. So her angry spirit is said to inhabit this particular place where she ended up meeting her end. So it's pretty creepy story behind this. Now I want to show you. Now you see this night picture here. All the shades are down. Now the tour guides told us that no one's in this house during the week. It's locked up during the week, right? Only on weekends does the staff come in and open it up and allow people to go in and take tours. So it's closed during the week. Nobody's in it. You see how all the shades are down in here? Now I'm going to show you, if I can. Hold on. Picture of it when we were there in the daytime. Where is it? There we go. Okay, here are my wife and I in front of the house. The day before I took that picture, where I just showed you. Now I didn't notice this until after the fact. But watch this. Here I am in front of the house with my wife. The shades are all up. The shades are all up. Look at them. They're all up. And then the following night, they were all down. The shades are all down. And no one is in the house. No one is supposed to be in this house except on weekends. No one goes in there and does anything with this house except on the weekend. Now, unless these shades are motorized to close during the day, which no one said anything to me about that, this is really creepy to me that the shades are shut. Now, here's another thing. Now, these are vertical shades. Now, I'm going to show you another picture. I took another picture at night. Hi, Angelique. How are you? Donna, this was the day before that other picture. This was on Tuesday. This was on Tuesday. That other picture was on Wednesday night. Hold on. I mean, this picture of the house is also the best picture too, because it's a full frontal shot, and this is what you see in the movie when the kids come trick or treating here. They go. This is the full shot of the house. You'll see, and this is called, the name of this house is the Rope House. You can look it up. The Rope House. It's a historical site. In the back has a nice garden. You could see people in the back to the right going towards they're going to see the garden in the back. It's a beautiful garden in the back. Hold on, let's see here. Now I want to show you something. Hold on. If I can find this. Okay. Now I took another picture of it at night. And of the upstairs windows. I'll just show you this one real quick. Hold on a second. This one, there were these people on the tour with us that were dressed as Hocus Pocus, believe it or not. They weren't actors. They were just people that took the tour that were dressed as the Hocus Pocus witches. And so I took a picture while they were taking a picture in front of the house. And again, you see like the shades are up here, right? Now, if I could, I want to show you this. Now, remember I mentioned that there might be some paranormal thing that I caught on here. Now, I'm going to show you to you now. because it has to do with this house, the rope house. Because at that night, the night after that picture, I took a nighttime shot of it. I took a couple of nighttime shots, and okay. Now this picture I took of the upstairs window, and I enlarged it. Now look at this and tell me what you think of this. This was at night. Now, this is the upstairs window, and you see the red area that's circled around here. If you look closely enough here, let me put it on full screen, see if that helps. You see something in the dark area. Now look into the dark area. There's the shaded area to the left where the shade is kind of parted. It's kind of parted horizontally. Look at the dark area. Look at it closely, and you'll see what looks like a head, a white head, and a body below it in the dark area here. A face. Yes, Donna, exactly. A face. There's a face in this. Now, I just took this picture just standing by the gate on the outside. Yeah, so, I don't know. I don't know about that. That was just something that passed my fancy. I don't know if that's true or not. But it could very well be. But this creeped me out because to me it looks like a face in the window at night. And remember, it's at night, it's dark, no one's there, no one is in the house at all, and you could see the outline of a face there, a faint white head, and a body there. Now I could tell you that there's no way this is not like a Halloween thing behind it or anything, like, because there's nothing like that in the house. They haven't done any decorating in the house yet for Halloween. Yes, Zelda, I see the whole skeletal person myself. Exactly. I see the head and the body. Yes, of a skeleton. Exactly. Yes. That's what I see there. So take it for what it is. Take it for what you will. I think I intentionally caught something unusual here when I took this picture. And and Zelda, I didn't see it. I didn't see it in life. I mean, like, I didn't see it in real life because I was just taking a picture of the house, and then I zoomed in afterwards just to look at it, and that's what I see. So it's creepy, 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 creepy. Really, really creepy. So I mean, if I'm gonna believe anything about haunted houses, that's one that I'm gonna believe because look what happened. Look what came up on my camera. So and hearing this story about the fires that happened, the inexplicable fires that happened over the years in this house, one after the other, yet the house never totally burns down. There's these fires that happen, but they are always put out. But people end up losing their lives from them. So the other thing is, they said everyone in this family, in the Rope family, died of tuberculosis over generations. They all died of TB, tuberculosis. Nobody knows why, but they all did. So really creepy, creepy stuff. No, there's no holograph in there. No, no, no. No, see no evil. This is not a situation where they're promoting the ghost stuff at all. This is a legitimate historical house that that the Peabody Foundation runs. It's the Rope House. It's run by the foundation, and they use it for, and they'll rent it out or allow it to be filmed for movies. But it's it's not a ghost thing. It's not like a horror thing or a spook thing or anything like that. This is like a real historical house because the Rope family was a major family in the late 1800s in Salem that contributed a lot and built a lot of it was a seafaring family because remember Salem was primarily a seafaring area, a lot of commerce from the sea, and this was one of the main families. So that's really really something else. That's something else right there. So I guess I just got lucky. I mean, and plenty of people were taking pictures of the house at the time. So I don't know if they had anything. I didn't compare notes or ask them anything because I actually didn't see this till the day after because I didn't really at night. I'm not thinking about that. I just wanted to take a night picture of the house to show it, compare it to the day picture, and so who knows? That's the rope house, which is really cool. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention is hold on. The last one I wanted to mention is the Rockefeller. There's a restaurant called Rockefeller's that's in Salem. I walked by it many times. I didn't go into it, but I walked by it many times. And it's in a building that originally was a church. But it doesn't look like a church at all. It's a big brick building, big square building. I mean, it was a meeting hall, it was a church, and it was a boarding house before it was a restaurant. And this harkens back to a story I told in a prior episode about a ghost called the Lady in Blue. And it is said that the Lady in Blue inhabits this particular location, Rockefeller's. Now, let me see if I can show you Rockefeller's real quick. It's a nice looking restaurant. It's right on the pedestrian mall. If you're walking on the pedestrian mall, you'll see it. You'll walk past it. It's in the Daniel Lowe and Company building, right there, and that's from there's two angles. Like this isn't the pedestrian mall side. This is the side that's on a street on an avenue. The other side is the pedestrian mall side. But it's one building. It's an old square building. It was a meeting house and it was also a church as well as a boarding house. So the story behind the Blue Lady comes from um, the story starts with this particular house because underneath this building, shouldn't call it a house, it's more of a building than a house. There are tunnels underneath it, and these tunnels were part of a network of tunnels that went under all of Salem. And what those tunnels were used for during the Revolutionary War, those tunnels were used for privateers to bring the loot that they had stolen, they had robbed from British ships, and store the loot underneath there. Now, most of those tunnels are gone, but some of the tunnels this one building has tunnels underneath it. And most of them have been closed off. So they don't interconnect or anything. It's not like you can walk under it and everything like that. You can't walk underneath it onto the city anymore because it's all shut off. But it's important to the story because the story goes that at one particular point in time in history, the 1820s, something like that, there was a sea captain that lived in this building, in this boarding house, and he had an indentured servant by the name of Abigail. I believe her name was Abigail. And this indentured servant worked for him, taking care of his place of residence as well as everything else, whatever it needed to be. And this sea captain fell in love with her. Now, he decided that he was going to ask her to marry him. So when her term of service and as an indentured servant worked, you were an indentured servant for 7 years. You had to work for free for 7 years, and then you would get your freedom after that. He said at the end of those, next year you're going to be up on your servitude, and at that point I'd like to marry you and make you my wife. Well, unfortunately, she had already fallen in love with a young sailor, more towards her age. Now, he was a bit older, she was young, so she turns him down. But the captain got very angry and said, "No, no, no, no. I brought you here to this country. I paid for your passage. You worked for me. When you're done with your servitude, you're getting married to me. And if you're in love with someone else, I'm going to take care of him by ending him. I'm going to end his life." So, a bit of a scary situation. So she tells her beloved what is going to happen to him if the captain catches up with him. So they plan an escape. What they're going to do is they're going to wait for a time when the captain's ship goes out, and then those two are going to sneak out through the tunnels and escape to his ship and go off to parts unknown. Anyway, they were going to get out of there. So the night comes, the captain gets ready to go out on take his ship out onto sea. And at that particular time, the plan was that Abigail and her lover were to meet in the boarding house and then take the tunnels out. Well, what happens is, unfortunately, the weather turns bad, and the captain goes to the dock and decides, I can't take my crew out. So he makes his way back to the building, and he does. But the way he comes back is he takes the tunnels. He takes the tunnels from the wharf where the ship is, back to the building, because at the time the tunnels all interconnect. Now, as he's coming back, unfortunately, he runs into the lovers as they're leaving. They're trying to escape. And with that, a confrontation occurs. Fisticuffs happen. He knocks the boyfriend down, knocks him to the ground, picks up a stick, and decides, I'm going to end this once and for all. A plank takes the plank and is about to throw it down and end this young sailor's life, and therefore take him out of the picture and he can marry her. But Abigail, seeing that his wife, seeing that her lover is about to be killed, throws herself in front of this action, and she takes the brunt of the hit with the plank, and boom, she is out. Now, all this commotion at the time brought the Reverend down from upstairs. All this activity that was going on in the basement brought the Reverend out. Remember, the upper floor was still a church there, so the Reverend lived up there. So the Reverend came down, and the Reverend gets down there just when the Abigail gets hit with the plank and killed by the captain mistakenly. The captain was trying to kill the boyfriend, but the captain did not. She jumped in front of him. She's mort. She's dead. So at this point, you have the captain with the murder weapon, the horrified Reverend who sees this happening, and then the horrified boyfriend who just saw his beloved killed in front of him. Now, you would think at this point in time something great happens, like the Reverend and the boyfriend grab the captain and hold him or take him to justice. Nope, none of that happens. What happens is the captain says to each one of them, I'll give you so many so many doubloons of gold if you keep your mouth shut and help me hide the body. And believe it or not, the Reverend and the boyfriend do this. They take the money and they help him hide the body in the basement and basically wall up the dead body in the basement. And it is said because this happened, her spirit is trapped in this building. And she often comes with a blue dress. They see her with a blue dress. There have been plenty of encounters with her over the years. In fact, Rockefeller's, the restaurant, has a drink called the Lady in the Blue Dress to commemorate her. Many people have said, have commented to the management how great it was for them to have this actor, this period actor there with a blue dress. They thought it was so cool that, walking around and taking pictures. And the management always says, no, we don't have an actor that does it. So they're basically seeing an image of a ghost that hangs out there, and it's the blue lady. It's Abigail. It's Abigail's ghost. That they take pictures. That actually, this Abigail will take pictures with people, but when the pictures come out, there's nobody in the picture. So basically, you go into Abigail's, you happen to see this woman in this period dress. You want to go up to her and take a picture to commemorate it. She'll take a picture with you, but she won't show up on the film because she's a spirit. So quite a spooky type of encounter that you might happen if you go to Rockefeller's in Salem. There's also tales of encountering the Reverend's ghost there too. That a man in black, always somber and kind of frowning and unhappy, but not as much as the lady in blue, because that's the more famous ghost of the area. So quite a cool story about this particular restaurant right on the pedestrian mall in Salem. So if you go there, check it out. Who knows? You might encounter the lady in blue. And yeah, so that's that. That's that. Now, the other thing I wanted to tell you, going back to Corwin, Sheriff Corwin, this is a add-on to that. Remember the curse that Giles Corey put on Salem and Corwin about Sheriff Corwin, about that they're cursed when he was being pressed to death. He was being pressed to death. That since that happened, every sheriff of the county of Essex in Massachusetts has died in office. Not one of them has retired until 1991, where they moved the sheriff's office. They moved it out of Salem and put it in a different town miles away from Salem. But every sheriff from 1692 up until 1991 has died in office from heart problems, various heart problems. What does that say? Is that the curse? Is that the curse that still carried on until 1991? Who knows? But that's quite a coincidence that every sheriff died in office. Every sheriff of Essex County, Massachusetts, died in office for 300 or 400 years. It's just amazing. It's amazing. 300 years, I guess it is, right? 300 years, whatever it is. 17, 18, 19, yeah, 300 years. It's amazing. Amazing to me. Some of these coincidences are just creepy. They give you goosebumps just to hear about them. Oh, I'm sorry. What am I saying? I was totally wrong with Abigail. Abigail's not her name. Her name is Sarah. Sarah is the lady in blue. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. I don't want to disrupt the spirits there. That's it's Sarah. The lady in blue's name is Sarah, not Abigail. So that's the story of an ancillary thing on top of the whole Sheriff Corwin legend or story. So there you have it. Those are my tales of various things in Salem, Massachusetts. Let me see. I have any more pictures I wanted to show you? I wanted to show you a little bit, a couple more pictures of things I took there, which I thought were pretty cool. This is in the middle of the Washington Street. This is right near the Witch Museum. And it is a statue of the founder of Salem. It's a huge statue right there. He's dressed in like a pilgrim. Roger Conant is the founder of Salem. Roger Conant. So that's right in the middle of Salem. See if there's anything else worth showing to you guys. Here's an example of some of the houses that are just decorated. Victorian houses. And you can just walk right by these houses. They're just everywhere. See if there's anything else. I think I showed you most of them. Here's another house. Hold on. So I hope you're enjoying this. I just wanted to give you a good take of what I experienced. Like this house has every window lit up with red jack-o'-lantern lights. It was pretty cool. Really creepy looking. This is just the side of the house, but the whole house was lit up with stuff. That's why I took the picture. Here is just, you can walk by this. This is actually, I believe, an old age home, but it's all decorated. Lenny's Lenny's grandma and grandpa right here, sitting right here on the steps. um, it's a beautiful mansion that they turned into an old age home. So pretty cool place to live, I guess, right? I didn't take any pictures. I took some pictures of Chestnut Street, but they really didn't do justice, so I didn't load them up here. Like I said, that street is just beautiful and plenty of these houses on it, but it's really wide with trees and everything. It's a beautiful place. But yeah, so that's my story, and I would recommend everybody go there if you can. If it's possible to go there, I would recommend going there. It was such a good experience, and like I said, it wasn't too expensive and fun. It was a fun little thing, a low stress type of little vacation thing. You don't have to worry about it. You do whatever you want to do. There's things everywhere. It's not like you have to keep to a schedule. I mean, if you sign up for tours, you got to be at certain times for the tours, but um, just walking around and stopping in shops all over the place. There's so many shops there of all different types. If you're into like the witch stuff, there's plenty of witch themes there. There's actual modern day witches that do fortune tellings and stuff, like all kinds of stuff like that going on in the storefronts that you could just stop in and take advantage of if that's your thing. I didn't do any of that stuff, but it's there and it's cute, cool to look at as you walk by if you're not into it. A lot of people just walking around in costume too, just dressed up in costume and walking around doing normal things in costume. So it was kind of cool. Um, costume shops. There was one I saw. I didn't see a lot of costume shops. That's an interesting question, Mustang. They were, but there were a lot of people in costume, but I don't not shops. There was one shop that had it was all masks. I remember seeing that. Um, there's a couple of like wax museums. There's like a spook house, like a scare place. You can go in if you like being scared. That's there. There's a whole bunch of different things. But like I said, you could just hang out there. It's a nice place to hang out. Oh, thank you, Gene. I appreciate that. Yeah, the Witch Museum. That's where the pictures I gave you. Oh, the picture of Giles Corey getting pressed, the mannequins of that. I did have hold on. Where did I do it? I thought I had more pictures of the hold on. Oh, this is annoying. I can't find it. Bear with me 1 minute here. I just want to make sure. Oh, I'll show you this. This is the sheriff's grave. This is Sheriff Corwin, where he is finally buried after his body was gone for 19 years. Hold on. We went to the actual grave site. Yeah, underneath this tombstone here is where he's buried, and his uncle, John Corwin, the judge and the sheriff of the witch trials, right underneath here. It's hard to see the writing on here, but it says Corwin family plot or whatever it's called. And then let's see. I just wanted to show you one more thing if I can find it. I will never upload so many pictures before because I can never get to it. Oh, this is the school. Let me show you this. This is the school. Hold on. At the beginning of Hocus Pocus, the kids are in school. This is the school right here. This was a school at the time when they were filming it. It had just closed, and right now it is housing. Like it's housing now, but this was the school building that the kids were in that in Hocus Pocus, and it's right across from this huge green that they have, a commons they call it. It's a huge park in the center of town that is roped off by that fencing, that wrought iron fencing, and it's got trees in it. It has it's all open ground. In the center of it, it has like a cement kind of monument or gazebo. It's just beautiful, beautiful looking area. And there was just one other story I wanted to tell you real quick if I can find it, because it has an interesting link to the present, to somewhat degree to the present. But I don't think I have it here. It's kind of annoying. Which house? We showed you that. Here it is. Now, there was someone that was executed during the witch trials by the name of George Burroughs. George Burroughs. Now, George Burroughs was a reverend. He was a preacher, a reverend that had been kicked out of Salem and actually went to Maine. But that didn't stop him from getting accused of being a witch because they did it anyway. And Sheriff Corwin went there to Maine, grabbed him, and brought him back. And he ends up getting hanged. And this was in the Witch Museum. This is the mannequins depicting his execution right here. George Burroughs. Now, the interesting thing about this is that George Burroughs, believe it or not, is a direct ancestor of Walt Disney, which I just thought that was bizarre. Walt Disney, was related to this guy. This guy, and it was like a direct lineage, like sixth great grandfather or something like that. I forgot how it went, but just a, and it just goes to show you the evil of the witch trials, that even a reverend was executed. That was the hysteria and evil of the witch trials. So that I thought that was kind of interesting. So I thought I'd show you that. Yeah, Patty, exactly. The hysteria that went on and how they were using spectral evidence to convict people. It's just bizarre. Just crazy, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. So anyway, well that's my stories for tonight. It's kind of late, so I'm going to dispense with paranormal. We'll look at paranormal stuff next week. We did have a little paranormal though. We had my picture from the rope house, so I did have some paranormal there. But anyway, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me tonight. It was awesome. Thank you for sitting through and listening to my tale of a trip to a cool place, Salem, Massachusetts, and I hope you can experience it too if you haven't, because it's a really fun place. So until next time, next week we're talking about vampires, I believe. But until next time, I will say, as always, stay scared because it's fun. And thank you for joining us. God bless and see you next time. We'll blow out our candles and have a wonderful weekend, everyone.